Hello and welcome to this edition of Engineering Hour, which intends to bring some of the interesting personalities in the world of engineering, as well as some of the upcoming innovations in the field of engineering. From the world of medical imaging to that of financial trading, to the world of oil and natural gas explorations, to biosciences, to data security, to data warehousing, and to the fancy world of animations, high performance computing has made a deterministic change. It has brought down the time required to model auto spare parts from almost 7 days to a little more than 5 hours. The time which was taking for creating life-saving drugs has come down from 20 years to less than 5 years. So high performance computing has changed the modern world in a big way. When it comes to setting up a high performance computing infrastructure, it's certainly a complex endeavor. It requires a long lead time, a significant amount of capital expenditure, and most importantly, a huge operational expenditure. Apart from that, high performance computing infrastructure runs the risk of non-utilization of the computing facilities because it comes only once in a while. So word over, HPC platforms are moving towards the cloud paradigm where the risks are mitigated and the benefits of virtualization support do come into play. So today we have with us Mr. Sanjay Lodha, the founder and CEO of NetWeb Technologies, which has been providing some of the finest platforms of storage as well as high performance computing in India. They are taking these products under the brand Tyrone. Tyrone, as it stands in Greek, to make sovereign. Tyrone intends to make people sovereign on their data storage and the high performance computing. So we will be exploring more as to what all platform they are providing and how these solutions are so pertinent for the Indian market. I welcome you, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, the first question before we move on to the technological track, you are an economics graduate from the Delhi University and then moved on to do your MBA. So how come from economics to engineering entrepreneurship?
Yeah, actually that is really quite different, definitely it looks. Actually the thing is that I come from a business family. Actually our family was into coal mines, we had coal mines and those got nationalized. So we were basically into various kind of businesses related to coal. We had some industries in a place called Dhanbad. Mm-hmm. So basically, we had a business background. So from the very beginning, I had it in my mind that we have to definitely set up something and to try and explore something new. So though definitely I did my economics honors and then I did my basically MBA with finance and marketing. So at that point of time only, the IT industry was evolving at that point of time. Really, that was sometime around 94, 95. It is evolving, and I saw a lot of opportunity into it, and we started getting into it. So previously, once we started, we primarily at that point of time, there were not many foreign companies who were being represented in India very well. So what we did was initially we tied up with some of the basically technology providers across the world, and we provided some innovative solutions, like basically primarily it was more of a mirror servicing link, MSL link actually, with a company called SysConnect and Thomas Conrad and all that. So that was basically, that became backbone for Indian banking at that point of time. All the banks at that point of time, they were looking for redundancy of all the data. There was a huge impetus from RBI so as to computerize all the banks. So basically that was one area where we entered and we got a good success in it. Then slowly we moved more into networking. We got into the volume game and all. But over a period of time, by the year 2001, we understood it that this is not the way to go, and we have to definitely evolve more ourselves into solutions and all that. That is the time when we started and we entered into servers, workstations and storage. That is the area we are still continuing. Actually, let me tell you, NetWeb is a very, very focused and basically very organization which focuses upon niche domain. We don't do everything. We are primarily, whatever we do basically in a good way. Like basically we focus upon HPC supercomputers. So like in HPC we have more than 250 installations all across the country.
Okay.
And this will span all across the country. All the major institutes, all the major research bodies we have been interacting with. The first teraflop machine, actually in HPC, teraflop, petaflop, all these means quite a lot. The first teraflop machine in India was set up at Institute of Mathematical Sciences. That's a department of energy body in the year 2003. So that was done by us.
Okay.
So we did that, and the first, one of the fastest currently, the supercomputer in India, that is Param 2. So Param 2, that is half petaflop. So though it was tendered for 1 petaflop, but unfortunately they didn't have the funds available at that point of time, so they could go only with half petaflop. So that was also done by us. So I think in last 10 to 12 years, we have established ourselves primarily more into HPC, and we have users working under various domains. They are from the automobile industry, they are from the research domains, they work on SysMIC, they work on CAD, CAE, and all
So
that.
from powering the power stations to powering the computing of the modern age, I think.
Yeah, you can say that, but primarily what happens is, though we had that instinct that basically we have to do something good, which is good for the country. Actually, I'll tell you very clearly what happened. If you remember, in the year 2000 or maybe slightly earlier than that, 98, 99, the supercomputers in USA denied India the supercomputers. Actually, they refused to give supercomputers to India.
True.
So that was really a challenging time for the Indian scientists and India as a country, because it was making it very difficult for people to acquire the supercomputing so as they can run it. That is the time this momentum started to build supercomputers in India, and basically we have been instrumental in that initiative from the very beginning. And since as I told you in 2003, we did
So synchronizing national objectives with the business ones has been your core knack.
Yeah,
You have taken it very well.
Very good.
Sir, your flagship product for which we are discussing today, EDRA in Hebrew stands for powerful.
Yeah.
And in Teutonic, the language of the German peoples, it stands for wealthy defender.
Yeah.
So what does Tyrone EDRA stands in the HPC world?
I'll tell you. Actually, basically, EDRA is the range of servers which we provide.
Okay.
We have the brand we carry is basically we call them as EDRA. Actually, what you are referring to maybe HPC on cloud services, actually, which we are calling Tyrone EDRA now. So what has happened is that HPC is definitely it is a big simulator. It provides a lot of basically efficiency in performance and a lot of things which cannot be done in months. Actually, that can be done in few hours. Actually, so really it helps to develop those kind of things. But what happens is that basically, definitely it's a costly device. Everybody cannot afford it. First thing is that. Second thing is that maintaining it is also very, very difficult because it consumes a lot of power, a lot of things are there. Plus maybe basically once you go to the industry domains, what happens is that they will not have continuous workflow for the supercomputer.
True.
So, and plus their requirements are different and the requirement for the machine is different. So basically they may need a very big machine at one point of time, but
not always.
Not always. So it becomes
So the computing resources can be shared across.
So what we are doing is that basically we are providing HPC as a service. We are providing HPC on cloud, wherein basically people who want to use computing facility, they can log into our system. We will provide them time. We will provide them all applications, everything, so that they can really run their codes, they can run their programs, they can get the desired efficiency out of it, and just pay for that time. So basically that, and we have kept it also very, very reasonable. Basically, if you go to our website, you will see that for educational institutes, we have released very, very, very special rates, wherein we are offering them at a marginally lower prices. But to the industry, definitely we have to charge a bit higher. But still, basically, if you see the world standards, we are quite good. Actually, this is one of the kind of service in India. Up till now in India, this service was not available. So we thought that definitely, because while interacting with a lot of users, we understood that there is a need for it. There are a lot of people who really want to use supercomputers, they are not able to use it, because what happens is they cannot afford it or they cannot maintain it. So that creates a problem. So that's the reason I think this was one option which can offer.
So you call yourself as the first pure HPC player in the Indian market. So what does this actually mean? Like?
Yeah, actually I'll tell you what happens is that, as I told you, what happened, if you remember 10 to 15 years back, USA denied India the supercomputers. So basically all these US companies, they were not selling supercomputing solutions in the country at that point of time when we started. When we started, definitely things started moving, and basically slowly we had a lot of people, lot of other HPC USA based or basically other countries based HPC companies also coming into India. But at that point of time, there was basically people were not ready to provide that to India, and that time we were instrumental in doing it, and we provided that.
So that required basically establishing your own infrastructure into place.
Yeah, actually, in HPC, the most important thing is the knowledge domain. So what happens is that your people should be highly trained. They should understand. And actually, the thing is that in this industry, what happens is that the technology changes every 6 months. So you have to use the latest technology to the optimum resources. What happens is, like today you buy a supercomputer. After you buy a supercomputer, it will cost you maybe 20 crores or a 15 crore or a 10 crore machine. But what happens is that within 3 to 4 years,
it gets obsolete.
It will get obsolete means basically the same work can be done by just 2 or 4 machines very clearly. You don't need that mammoth machine because the technology is advancing. So you have to be basically, as soon as the technology is launched, you have to really come out.
Since you are associated with the strategic requirement of the country, where is your technology actually hosted at in the changing geopolitical scenario where growing demands are coming, the data centers or machines have to be within the territorial jurisdiction of a particular nation state. So where is your technology hosted? Is it the conventional model, you have your data farms?
No, everything, it is all hosted in India actually.
All your machines are in India?
All our machines. So definitely we provide solutions across Southeast Asia also. Now we have operations in Singapore as well.
Okay.
We are doing it, but primarily basically the HPC as a cloud service, which we HPC on cloud, which we are providing, the machine is residing in India.
It's residing in India. So this means even the tactical installations can come securely on your services.
Because what happens is that today even the government regulation also doesn't permit that Indian R&D work should go abroad. Actually, the data should be shared. So everything is in India. And plus, there are others also providing this service across the world, but it's more of an automated mode. When you send an email, you will get a browser, which will open up. You have to do everything on your own. Definitely some advantages are there with that, but basically in case of HPC, it is more of scientific research. You need local handling and all.
So here you have come up with an Indian Jugaad, where you are providing more of the human interface, apart from the mundane system-centric approach.
It is there, and plus basically it's also housed at Parvanu. Parvanu is a place in Himachal Pradesh, which is basically again on the eco front also we require less cooling. The power is basically generated by hydro. So we have the green initiative also there. So basically so it's housed there.
So Parvanu is really empowering your Tyrone HPC solutions. Okay. Sir, we would like to know more about the differentiation you are providing as in the human interface part of is concerned.
Yeah, actually, what happens is that since, as I told you, we have an experience of more than 250 HPC installations across the country. So we have interacted with various users. So basically, our team is very, very proficient in working on various domains which the users has. So normally they understand, though definitely they are not scientists, but they really understand what kind of codes they are running, how they can get best performance out of the machine using those codes. Basically their parallelization is there. So basically how can they parallelize it, what tips are needed for that. So basically these things really matter a lot. Actually what happens is that if your team can help them fine tune it, basically there's some program which would be taking around a month to run. If you fine tune it well, it will do it within 10 days.
So the domain is specialization rests with your experts. Who then sit on top of the problem which has to be computed, and then they take the maximum value of the servers which are putting up. That's really excellent.
Plus, basically, we use the latest technology. As I told you, what happens is that basically technology changes every 6 months. So we are almost on. As soon as something is launched, we have very good strategic relationship with all the major vendors. So basically, we are open towards all their basically roadmaps and all that. We incorporate that into our solution. So definitely, we always use most efficient products and technologies.
Sir, as far as your technology is concerned, green is obviously the one part of it that you are housed in Parvanu. You also say that you are using more of non-proprietary components. How does it empower your platform?
Yeah, I'll tell you. Basically, what happens is that if you're using something as proprietary, so there are some MNCs which I not like to name here. If they are using proprietary, what happens is that proprietary is always costlier. Plus, basically, you have to depend upon them on various licenses and all that. Which basically, in India has faced that situation 15 years back, wherein US really said that they are not going to provide that, and most of these companies are US based. So in this case, basically we use an open architecture.
Okay.
We are using the open architecture. The advantages are they have several advantages to it. There is more R&D into it. Developments are much more faster. They are cheaper. They are easy to maintain, and basically you can scale up. Scale up. You can use basically even the self homegrown codes which we call.
Okay.
Indian scientists definitely they have a lot of homegrown codes, so they can adapt to that very well. And tomorrow, if you are running something on your PC and you can really want to scale that up, you can really run it on this machine and it can run.
But so you said that you have till now got 250 installations across the country.
Yeah.
What is the mix of it? Like what kind of organizations have come forward for the high performance computing needs?
Really speaking, on the high performance computing, up till now, government has been the major facilitator because they have been investing quite a lot into it.
So are these the IITs and NITs?
These I can tell you, these are either these are IITs. These are all the top universities of the country. These are NITs also. We have it. Recently we did HPC installation at NIT Silchar.
Okay.
NIT Silchar being the farthest corner, I cannot express the kind of happiness the students and the faculty had. They called us for an inauguration, and basically it was inaugurated by one of the senior people there. And it was a major festival over there, that the way they were, because basically those parts, the northeastern parts of the country, they had to really log into different systems, and it was very difficult for them to get that kind of computing expertise. Now they have it there. So now we are propagating it to all the other NITs also in this region, that you can also do it.
So apart from academic institutions, what are the industrial establishments?
Industrial establishments actually on HPC is helping quite a lot of people. Like basically oil and gas is one area wherein if you can really see today what is happening is that in case of seismic research, if you are trying to find someone, to explain it in layman language, if you are trying to find oil somewhere, it's very difficult to do it physically. So what you have tons and trillions of data which has to be processed, and you trust to understand where the probability of finding basically oil is higher. So basically that's the reason you have seen that previously people used to go all far corner of the world so as to dig for oil, but now they focus upon particular areas. All this data is generated using supercomputers. Then again what is happening is that previously the efficiency, if in last few years you might have seen the efficiency for this has gone, it was around 30%, now it has gone to 50%. You can understand it. A barrel of oil is $110. Okay, so if it is $110, and if you are improving the efficiency from 30 to 50%, means that it's around 20% efficiency of increasing it, you can understand your cost of production is really getting going reduced, and plus you are able to, when oil is scarce, you are able to.
What kind of backbone bandwidths are required to get connected and get your work transferred?
Actually, how does the supercomputer work? Supercomputer primarily what happens is that if you have an application running on your high-end desktop, I'm not talking about entry-level desktop, it may take months and years to run an application. In your supercomputer, what happens is that they are basically hundreds of very, very powerful machines, powerful x86 based machines.
And they are parallelly processed.
And they are connected through a very high bandwidth interconnect, which primarily today being used is InfiniBand. So basically, because what happens is that then the entire cluster, we call it a cluster, it works as a single machine. So basically, once you submit a job, if it is parallelized, it is processed.
So has the job to be modeled for computing by a parallel computer, or your team helps in resolving the problem and making
I'll tell you, basically what happens is most of these kind of jobs, they are now basically parallelization has really improved quite
That's already in the algorithm back
there on the algorithm. So basically they have to fine tune their toes actually. But normally what happens is that once you try to run a job on a parallel machine, definitely you need some tips for programming, wherein basically you can improve the performance. Now what has happened is recently, if you see, there are accelerators which have come into picture. Now only basic people are not satisfied with only the CPU's performance, so they want even more performance. So now basically the GPUs have come in. Intel has come out with Xeon Phi, which is an accelerator which really scales up the performance. The Param at CDAC is using the Xeon Phi. We have some installations which are using GPUs.
So being on the cloud, the far end has to be connected by the internet backbone. So what kind of bandwidths are sufficient enough to work on an HPC system?
Actually what happens is that all the processing primarily happens at that end. You don't need that high. basically we need good bandwidth. We definitely in India bandwidth is definitely costly, no doubt about it. So, but still basically we have good bandwidth connections for that, and plus basically people have to log in and they need to do it. We also provide this because there are some people who need to load a lot of data or something. In that case, they can ship the data to we have an NDA with the customers, so they can ship the data to our facility.
Physically?
Physically, wherein we can load it. The other way is that basically what they can do is we even provide workstations at our site. If somebody is interested, that fine.
They can come and they can work over there and
do
they can
it.
get there.
Because we have been working with some biotechnology companies who were really getting this work done somewhere abroad, and they had a lot of issues that basically our data is going abroad, our research is going abroad, what's going to happen and all. Now they are very happy to use our facility in India. They are finding it very easy. Like in automobile sector, if you see basically like I'm talking about if you want to build a new car or something, which in India a lot of those things are happening. Like for doing one simulation, basically you have to really physically you'll have to crash more than 2,000 cars. In this case, everything can be done by simulation over a supercomputer, and you can save all that investment. So automobile is another area which really uses it quite heavily. The biotechnology definitely.
Since you said that you have a huge human interface associated, apart from a systems-driven approach, so what kind of security and confidentiality protocols have you put in place so that the kind of heavy research which goes in, so the clients can be secure that everything is fine?
We have a very basically different levels of security which we ensure to our customers. We have very high level of NDA. We have it. As regards what happens is that our people will only basically on the data side, the people interference is not needed. The data is very secure. They can be directly basically they are loaded by them. They have encrypted passwords and everything for that. Primarily in case they are facing problem or they want to understand how to run this program, then they will seek our help. So we provide that.
So it's a limited intervention. It's a limited intervention.
We don't run everything for them and give them the result. So they use their own data, they run their programs themselves. We only assist them so as to get the best result out of it. And that really helps them further.
Sir, it really excites for even for the sake of our common viewers. What kind of facilities and what kind of infrastructure we've really got at Parvanu? Can you give a graphic description of the kind of machines and the kind of investment which has gone up to establish your HPC facility at Parvanu?
Yeah, basically it's somewhere around 2,000 core plus machine. There are more than 2,000 cores are available. It has got around 4 TB of memory. You might have heard about
each one of them.
No, the total memory. 4 TB. You might have heard about 1 TB of hard drives, but memory is always 512 GB, 2 GB, 4 GB. We have
the RAM part of it.
We have 4 terabytes of memory.
Okay.
And so that is phenomenal. And we have got a huge amount of storage also. I don't remember it. And all connected over high-speed bandwidth FDR network, which is the fastest interconnect available. And it's all backed up with the proper generator. Though in Himachal Pradesh we have good electricity, and but still we all backed up with proper UPS and basically all kind of basically, and the cooling becomes again very important when you are running such a mammoth machine. It generates a lot of heat, so you need proper cooling and all that. So that we have a complete data center kind of a world-class data center.
Where would you benchmark yourself with the similar players in India and abroad?
Actually, really speaking, in India unfortunately we don't have anybody else providing it. But if we compete with the likes of Amazon, because basically Amazon is doing it in USA. So basically people have seen that we are much, if you really see on the website, they will show, okay, fine, the prices are lower or something. But once you start taking services, at the end of you are paying quite a lot.
So you mean to say that you compare yourself with Amazon?
No, it's not Amazon. You can say mini Amazon. You can say in India. But basically, since so I can tell you the people like Amazon and all these people are providing these kind of services.
But it's really encouraging that.
In India we don't have anybody else doing it yet. But we have seen a lot of significant, because there was a company called CRL which tried to do some time back. That was a Tata company, but basically they had their own set of problems. That's the reason they couldn't do that much. But still, we have seen a lot of traction towards it, and we feel that this industry can develop. And moreover, more than business, it's moreover, we again have that definitely it is a facilitator. What happens is that somebody who's requiring supercomputing, because you can understand the kind of pricing we are offering somewhere around rupees 10 per core per hour or something of that nature. That amounts to very little actually.
I got to read that it is as low as $1 per hour kind of
even less than that.
Even less than that.
I think think $0.1 per hour or something of that nature, per core or something of that nature. So it's very, very reasonable. We have made it very affordable, and we are trying to grow it also. And we have been getting active support from the academic community, from the lot of basically researchers and all that. So trying to use
Okay. Sir, one is obviously the demand push side of it, that people who are aware of like what a supercomputer can do and what kind of computing they need to do. There is also a need to create a demand pull. Now with the new government coming in place and which is saying that manufacturing has to come on board and a lot of emphasis. So till now we have been relying more on import of technology. Now we have to start developing it. So what kind of growth of HPC market you envisage in the next 5 years?
Actually, really speaking, HPC, because if I tell you, when we started in 2002, 2003, there were very few HPC machines. But today, as I tell you, if we have 200 plus machines, as I mentioned to you, others might be also having it. So definitely the market has been growing. We feel that with the new government coming in, we are again very, very hopeful towards it. So we feel this market will show some positive growth for a few years to come. And maybe it will be definitely a double-digit growth, more than 20 to 25% growth per year, which we are presently looking.
So what kind of demand pull strategies, what NetWeb Technologies is planning to undertake?
As regards demand pull is concerned, what we are trying to do is that we are trying to engage with more and more of the people who are trying to use this with the application providers and all those people. And primarily we are trying to basically participate in various kind of seminars and various kind of things wherein we are talking about
So academia and industry are your equal stakeholders?
Really speaking, it may be 60-40 ratio. Academia would be around 60%, industry would be around 40%. We would love to make industry 70%, but slowly we'll still have around 60-40 ratio.
So here we had Mr. Sanjay Lodha, who in the right sense of the term is really working towards making India sovereign in the high performance computing. It was really encouraging to see technological entrepreneur sitting right here. His establishment is there in the hill state of Himachal Pradesh, and he's comparing himself with the global majors like that of Amazon. So I think अच्छे दिन आने वाले नहीं हैं, they आ रहे हैं. This is really encouraging. So we will end up in this engineering hour. We will be back again with yet another interesting personality and technological area. Till then, stay tuned.